Greetings, everyone. My name is Lillah Schwartz. Welcome to today's live stream. I'm doing these live streams once a month on the third Thursday of the month at 4 p.m. I have over 41 years of practice in teaching of yoga, so I'm happy to share some of the gifts I've gained and skills I've learned along the way with you. Today's topic is yoga for osteoporosis. And it's going to be based on the research work of a man by the name of Dr. Fishman. He's been researching osteoporosis for many, many years, and I have his website in the show notes, so you can always go there and gather more information for yourself. So there's some things we want to know about yoga for osteoporosis. According to Dr. Fishman, there isn't a medication out there that doesn't have severe side effects after a 2 or 3 year time period of using that medication, and that really the body responds to stress. Whatever stress is on the bones is what makes the bones get stronger. So there's something called Wolff's Law, which says that the bone grows along the lines of force. So we all know that there has to be some kind of weight-bearing exercise to stimulate bone growth. And how you know that that really does work is if you have a bunion, or anyone you know has a bunion, the bunion is proof that the body changes shape, the bone changes shape according to the stressors. So you might have a slightly weak arch, something like that, some sort of change in your length of your toes, the strength of your arch, and maybe years of walking that cause the bunion to appear. And it is a bone, the body laying down new bone. So we can do this in the places where we want it, which is good news. There are 3 keys to using yoga for bone density. And one key is that it has to be a daily practice. So that right there is a bit of a challenge. So something for your bones every single day, whether it's walking, skipping rope, whether it's doing the yoga practice designed for bone density, but there has to be something every single day in order to start building bone back up again. And the second thing about that is timing. How long we hold the poses in yoga makes a big difference in whether the bone creates better density or not. And I have for you an image here. And this is a bell curve. And on one end, you'll see this is 12 seconds here, 30 seconds, 40 seconds, 30 seconds, and 72 seconds. So according to this bell curve, which is used by Dr. Fishman, 40 seconds is the optimal length of time to hold a yoga pose. Now, for a lot of you, 40 seconds is a long time. So you can certainly, you're going to start at 12 seconds, but you want to try and at least hit 30 seconds in a pose, right? Does it work to go any longer? So no sense beating yourself up and trying to stay in the pose longer than 40, 50 seconds, because it won't do any good, right? So this is how the bone responds to the stress and the kind of time limit that has been documented for that. All right, so I wanted to show you that. And the third key, so there's 3 keys, is the daily practice, preferably in the morning before breakfast, how long you hold the poses, and avoiding poses in which your spine is completely rounded. So you don't want to do any kind of twisting poses which cause you to fold in. And you don't want to do seated forward bends if you have osteoporosis. Now, the truth be known, I do have osteoporosis, and seated forward bends have not been part of my practice for a very long time. I do standing forward folds, things to stretch my hamstrings, but I don't do seated forward bending. And if I did, I would do it with a straight spine. I wouldn't round over. So that's just a few cues to you about how to manage your body with that. So, yeah, so posture plays an important role. And I'm going to show you an image today. I just got this. This is hot off the press. So this is an image of the psoas muscles. So the pelvis is down here. And these are the psoas muscles coming up along the lumbar vertebra and attaching into your diaphragm. And because this attached to the vertebra up under and behind the diaphragm, if that psoas shortens from the top, it flexes the spine toward the legs. And if you've been sitting for a long time, you're going to tend to drop your chest and sort of collapse on the diaphragm. So that's a posture piece, to not allow the spine to collapse in the front, but keep the breastbone lifted and the shoulders rolling back so you don't have adverse pressure down on the body of the discs in the front. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and start a practice. I have some poses planned for you. And we're going to start with the most simple pose first. We're going to start with tree pose, and we're just going to hold tree pose for a moment. So I'm going to ask you to go ahead and take a chair and put the chair on the side of your mat. So go ahead and have the chair on the side of your mat. And actually, I'm going to turn the chair around so that the back of the chair is closest to me. And I can have that as a balance point. So this is the simple pose to begin with. And you're just going to shift the weight onto one leg, pick up the knee, turn it out. You can have the foot below the knee for a Vrikshasana tree pose, or you can take the foot all the way up into the groin and be here in this position. Now, what you want to be aware of as you're doing this pose is the weight bearing directly over the neck of the femur bone. So it's the neck of the femur bone that typically breaks in osteoporosis. It's not the long length of the bone. It's not the process of the bone that sticks out a little bit to the side, but it's the neck of the femur that goes to the ball for the ball and socket joint. And if you let the hips sling out to the side, you're going to feel the weight more on the outside of your leg and the outside of your knee. So that's not really going to help the head of the femur bone as well as it could. You want to pull in on the outside of that leg so that you bring the neck of the femur bone directly in line with the center of your leg, and you feel that squeeze on the outer hip. Yeah, and then it's a matter of holding it. And of course, if you want to practice your balance, you just let go of the chair and you can bring your hands in. And for myself and my practice, I recommend it to you also. My knee has a little bit of play in it. It's just slightly micro bent, very slightly. And that gives more control. And the bottom of my belly is lifted. So the weight is really centered over the head of the femur bone. Okay, very good. And then slowly release. And we'll stay with the chair in this position and go to side two. So bringing the weight to the opposite leg and picking up that foot. You can bring it all the way up to the inner groin. Again, notice a tendency for the body to want to sling out to the side and pull it in, and lift the bottom of the belly so you flatten your clock face and you have the weight bearing directly over the neck of the femur bone. And then hold the position and be steady. And have that firmness on the outside. So as the muscles hug into the hip bone, the bottom of the belly hugs in. That helps to A, keep your spine nice and long, and B, keep the stimulation and the positioning really clear. All right, and then inhale and exhale and release. Very good. So now we're going to go to a standing twist in the chair. So again, face the seat of the chair toward your video camera. And even if you're close to the wall, that's lovely. If you're not close to the wall, that's okay. So we're going to do a twist in this position. And there's different ways you can approach it. You can put your foot just on the seat of the chair, or you can put your foot up on the block. So that's a little bit more classic way that we've done this in the Iyengar method before, is with the foot up on the block. And you want to stand close enough to the chair with the standing leg so that you can bring the weight back. So you can bring the weight back into the heel. Again, if I'm slinging forward, the pressure and the weight is going to end up in the lumbar, which is going to kind of crunch the lumbar a little bit, and it's not really helping the head of the femur bone. So we want the head of the femur bone, the top thigh, to be back, almost weight back in the back edge of the heel, so you have a nice straight line. Again, you can microbend your knee. From here, I'm going to raise the same arm up as the standing leg, come across, and then begin to twist. So as I'm twisting, I want you to notice my spine is not rounded forward. This is a beautiful twist because it has a very nice lift when you twist. And the twisting is the only way you can really get to the vertebra, the bodies of the vertebra themselves. So I'm going to unwind and come out for a moment, and I'll just explain that a little bit better. When you extend the spine long and turn it, it's like turning a dish rag. You're wrapping it around, and when you do that, that's where the pressure on the vertebra, the bodies of the vertebra, happens. That's where it happens, and that's the stress that helps stimulate bone growth. Okay, and Dr. Fishman said very clearly, after 200,000 people in trial tests for bone density, I mean, he has 700, 800, several thousand people that he's worked with over the years, never have twisting in this manner ever fractured anyone's bones. So people are really concerned about that sometimes. And with this kind of twisting, if you get a nice lift, you don't have to worry so much. So on the second side, standing close to the chair with the foot up, I'm going to press the top of the thigh back, root down into the heel, get the weight into the back of my heel, lift the bottom of my belly, flatten the clock face, raise the same arm as the standing leg, exhale, twist, put your hand on the knee, and then revolve. So I'm turning from the bottom of the belly, the waistline, the bottom ribs, all the way around, twisting. And again, it's a 40-second hold, ideally. So we'll just hold for another 5 count. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And slowly unwind and step out. And there you go, very nice. And then just feel for a moment how that feels. And I'm going to add in a twist here. This is a twist that I am particularly fond of, and it's done seated in the chair. So sitting in the chair, we're going to sit sideways. And the reason why I love this twist so much, I'm going to call it seated Marichasana 3. So that was standing with the chair. We're going to do so seated, because it really helps people to get their psoas to lengthen, which improves their posture, and thereby improving their posture reduces the risk of fractures. So there's a lot of positives there. So I'm going to turn sideways, sit near the edge of the chair, drop my right thigh is on the chair. I'm dropping my left knee straight down. I'm going to flatten my clock face. So you want to not overarch your back. Last month we talked about sacroiliac support, and that comes from the transverse abdominis and the bottom of the belly. So go ahead and pull in there as you drop your tail. And then you raise the arm up, lift, inhale, exhale, twist, and take a hold of the chair with 2 hands. So I have one hand on one side of the chair back and the other hand on the other side of the chair back. My spine is lifted, the breastbone is lifted, and then I'm twisting. So it's a really nice extension for the whole front spine. Again, hold it. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And exhale, out you come. And turn back to center front. So let's talk a little bit about options for timing. It may not feel comfortable to everyone to just hold a pose like that for 30 or 40 seconds. That's actually a long time. And I would suggest that if you want to hold it for, say, 15 seconds and you repeated it 3 times, that would also accomplish the same goal. So you could do 15 seconds on a side, but then repeat it 3 times, and it still adds up to the same amount of timing and stimulation. So that's another way to think about your practice. All right, and then we're going to turn sideways. Again, my left thigh is on the chair, drop my right knee down, and you can't see my toes necessarily, but they are curled under. So I'm not pointing my toes straight back, but again, the foot could be whatever works best for you. And then flatten the clock face. Inhale, raise the arm up. Exhale, twist from the belly, hold on. One hand on one edge of the chair, the other on the other side of the chair. Breathe in, raise your spine. Be careful that you're not collapsing the chest. Really lift the breastbone and move your ribs in. Move the ribs in from the back side so you get nice height, and then twist and hold. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And slowly unwind and come back to center front. Okay, and now we're going to give you a challenging pose. So some of the standing poses are very necessary. So this one's going to be challenging. And I'm going to ask you again to, I think you can leave the chair just the way it is for stability and balance. But then I'm going to ask you to do something odd. I'm going to ask you to put the block on the floor. So I'm putting it this way, lengthwise, on the floor. Actually, I'm going to turn the chair around, change my mind. I'm going to turn that chair around, it's more stable. Because we want to be stable, we don't want to fall over. That's not a good idea. All right, and then I want you to pick your right foot up and put it on the block. Now, if your foot is slipping, then maybe you have to tuck it underneath your mat, or you can hook your heel on the edge, yes? And then take your legs nice and wide apart for Virabhadrasana 2, Warrior 2 pose. And then from this position, lift the bottom of your belly. And I have the chair there is behind me so that I have support on the chair. And then inhale, lift the front knee any amount and bend down. Now you still have the chair there if you need it for balance. And bend. Now when you bend, the important thing is where is the head of the femur bone. So turn the knee out, tuck that buttocks really under you, really get the hamstring to come under and forward, and then sit on the head of that right femur bone and sit there for 40 seconds, or 3 rounds of 15, or 2 rounds of 20, and get that the stress. It is a stress to the body. You're bearing weight, the muscles are having to work, and that's what's going to stimulate the bone density. All right, and up you come, hold the chair, step off, and we'll turn around to the other side. And again, put your left foot on the block, hook the heel a little bit on the edge of the block, and step nice and wide apart. Lift the bottom of your belly, drop your tail down. Inhale, exhale, turn the knee out as you bend and go down into the pose. And remember, turn the knee out. Get the hip underneath you, and lift the bottom of the belly, lift that side completely, and then hold. So you might find there's a lot of stretch on the back leg. That's all right. Don't push. Just go to your limit, go to your capacity, and hold it. And breathe. So the back knee may be completely straight, it may not. See what you can do. See what your body can do. Lift up through your chest, open. You could even take your arm out to the side so it looks a little more like Virabhadrasana 2. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Straighten out and slowly step yourself out and relax your legs, shake them out a little bit. The challenge is good. Okay, so we're going to go to the next pose, and you can just fold up your chair if you'd like and just lean it against the wall behind you, so we won't need the chair any longer. And this time we're going to go into triangle pose. So take your block in your hand, step your feet wide apart, turn in halfway with your left foot, turn out 90 degrees with your whole front leg, and then inhale. You're going to start by bending the knee as if you're doing Virabhadrasana 2, and I want you to tuck that hip really under you. Turn that knee out, tuck the hip under, reach out, place your fingertips on the block, and then slowly straighten the front leg. So come to triangle pose and turn your chest toward the ceiling. And be there. And ask yourself, is my right buttocks and my right thigh bone, are they underneath me? If they're sticking way out to the back, then the weight is on your inner knee. It's not on the head of the femur bone. So you have to try and get it underneath you. Lift the bottom of the belly in and up towards your chest. Bring the tip of your tailbone in and turn your chest. And straighten the leg all the way. And then inhale, up you come. And we'll go to side 2. So I'm giving you some basic poses that can be part of your practice on a regular basis to help you start building your bone density. And again, root down to the outside edge of the rear foot. Lift up through the bottom of the belly. Start to turn the front leg out completely. Bend it like you did in Virabhadrasana 2. And then reach out. Take your hand to the block. Tuck the left hip under you. Turn the knee out. Keep turning the knee out. Tucking the hip under. And then straighten the leg. And then open the chest. Turn the belly and chest toward the ceiling. Ask yourself again, where is the weight in the front leg? Can you get that hip underneath you enough to feel like you're really holding the weight of your torso on the head of the femur bone, the top of that thigh? And breathe. So again, it's finding your count. Lift the bottom of the belly toward the chest. Root to the outside edge of the rear foot. Be patient. Be steady. And then inhale and up you come. And turn to center front. Step your feet together. All right, and we're going to do one more pose, and that's Shalabhasana, Locust Pose. So you'll need to get a blanket and have a blanket folded in half this way. Lengthwise is usually the position that works the best. And I'm going to adjust the camera so you can see the mat completely. All right, and we're going to come down now and lie on your belly. Put your pelvis on the blanket, chest on the floor, hands beside your breastbone. And then just lengthen your belly forward a little bit. Try and extend the front of your spine a little bit. And then you're going to lift your knees and reach your heels back and squeeze your tail down. From this position, roll your shoulders back and just lift a tiny bit, just enough to feel the muscles of the back body engage. And stay with that. And then exhale and come back down again. And we're going to repeat it again. So that's the ideal position. but I know that some of my students have trouble getting lift with just a blanket. So if it feels like too much of a struggle for you, I'm going to invite you to put a bolster on your mat. So when you give yourself a little more height, it's easier to get the extension of the front of your spine, so you don't just crunch in the lumbar. You don't want to just crunch. You want to try and extend the stretch and the work throughout the whole spine. So again, I'm going to put my pubic bone just on one edge of the blanket and come down so the bolster's across my belly. And this time I'm going to curl my toes under, lift my knees, stretch my heels back, squeeze the tail deep down, and then roll my shoulders back, pull my chest forward, and just lift part way up, just part way, and hold. And you feel the work of the back body. Be certain that you're firming the buttocks, squeezing the tail down, lifting the thighs up. Eventually, you'll be able to take your hands off the floor and really put a workload on your spine to help build bone density. And then down you come. And rest here. Take a breath or two, and then push up, open your knees out to the side, and without rounding into a full child's pose, extend your hips back, rest your forehead on the bolster or on the mat, but keep your spine neutral. Smooth inhalation, smooth exhalation. And then slowly push yourself up to sitting. And just take a sit for a moment. And observe your body. Just take a breath, observe for a moment. So this is a very short 30-minute introduction to some things that you can continue to work on in your own practice. And certainly I'd love to hear your comments. I'm going to be ending the live stream now and completing the class with my membership for the next hour. If you'd like to be part of the membership, you're certainly welcome to go ahead and check out the link below. And thank you for showing up and watching this, and may your life continue to be blessed with yoga. Namaste.